Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. Now, unfortunately for Laker fans, we have to have an uncomfortable conversation. So my intent with this video is not to necessarily blame one individual for what's currently going on, but I got to keep it real. LeBron James needs to get the bulk of the blame for the Lakers being in this bad situation at this point. So on Christmas Day, to a nationally televised audience, the Houston Rockets defeated the Los Angeles Lakers 119-96. The game was never really close as the Lakers were down 12 points at the end of the first quarter. Luka Doncic led the Lakers with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists, while LeBron James finished with 18 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists. And that's where I want to start at. Those numbers, especially for a 41-year-old, it looks pretty good. But if you actually watch the games like I do, LeBron James had an awful game. I'm about to play some clips from last night's game, and I want you to only focus on LeBron. Now, did you see that effort from LeBron James on defense? That man refused to box out, didn't rotate on defense, and just overall lacked any type of intensity on the defensive end. Now, some people will say it's not fair to ask a 41-year-old player to play intense defense. And to those people, I'll say this. Stop making excuses for LeBron. If he can dunk over Luke Cornett and scream at him for what it seemed like 5 minutes, LeBron can give a better effort on defense. Playing defense, for the most part, is all about effort. Everybody knows Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves are bad defenders, but at least they try. I can't say that for LeBron, and at this point, I don't think he's going to change. I was really optimistic that when LeBron returned to the Lakers from his injury, that he would be an asset to the team. And in the beginning, he really was. But I think ever since that Phoenix game, when he was laughing with the Suns players during the middle of the game, and Coach Redick had to use a timeout, things just haven't been the same. Coach Redick has voiced his frustrations with the Lakers as well.
Been a good basketball team. When we haven't, we're a terrible basketball team. And tonight we were a terrible basketball team. And that started legitimately right away. We don't care enough to do the things that are necessary. We don't care enough to be a professional. It's, we had it. It can change like that. We don't have it right now. What I said the other night, it's a matter of making the choice. And too often we have guys that don't want to make that choice. And it's pretty consistent who those guys are. And so Saturday's practice, I told the guys, it's going to be uncomfortable. The meeting is going to be uncomfortable. I'm not doing another 53 games like this.
Now, if he's going to call out his team in that fashion, he has to put a name on it at this point. This isn't the first time he's thrown his players under the bus. I think it was just last week where he said one of his players didn't know what a flood was. Now, I have to blame coaching for that because that's his job, to have the players know what to do. So I do want to place some blame on Coach JJ Redick for what's happening with the Lakers. However, whether fair or unfair, LeBron has to get the majority of the blame. The evidence is clearly there why the Lakers have all of a sudden regressed as a team. The stats say when LeBron is in the lineup with Rui Hachimura, DeAndre Ayton, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves, the team has a negative net rating. And when Marcus Smart replaces LeBron in the lineup, like he did when LeBron was hurt to start the season, the Lakers have a positive net rating. Now, if you ask me what the Lakers should do, I'll say this. At this point in his career, LeBron James has to come off the bench and play a reduced role for the Los Angeles Lakers. They are just a different team when he's in the starting lineup. He's not changing his game like I thought he would, so you have to just remove him from the starters. Now, we all know that's just not happening. The optics of LeBron James coming off the bench would hurt his ego so much that you just can't go down that path. But the next best thing is to reduce his minutes to where his impact won't be so profound. Get him down to 20 to 25 minutes per game and just see what happens. I don't see a scenario in which the Lakers make a drastic trade this season. It wouldn't make any sense because LeBron is in the last year of his deal and $52 million is coming off those books. The smart move has to be to stand down the rest of the season. Don't re-sign LeBron James, but instead re-sign Austin Reeves and build around Luka Doncic with the stench of LeBron James finally gone in LA. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So after the Lakers got destroyed on Christmas Day by the Houston Rockets, 119-96, Coach JJ Redick had this to say about the practice that will take place on Saturday.
It's a matter of making the choice. And too often we have guys that don't want to make that choice. And it's pretty consistent who those guys are. And so Saturday's practice, I told the guys, it's going to be uncomfortable. The meeting is going to be uncomfortable. I'm not doing another 53 games like this.
Well, that practice and meeting took place yesterday. So exactly what happened? Coach JJ Redick, in fact, did call out players, which included LeBron James. Now, in my previous video on the Lakers, I felt like it was important for Redick to put a name on the players he felt like wasn't giving 100% effort. And LeBron James was at the top of that list. Like I said, I don't care that you're 41 years old. As long as you're on that court, you can absolutely give effort on defense. So when Coach Redick spoke with the media after Saturday's practice, it was very subtle and calculated, but he called out specifically LeBron James. Also, he finally addressed the elephant in the room. Since LeBron James came back from his injury, the Lakers have been a totally different team, and not for the better.
Yeah, but we that was, priority number one for me. Role clarity. I think since we've gotten Braun back, we haven't been as organized offensively. Too many random possessions, so that's on me. So it's those three things. Defensive clarity, role clarity, and offensive organization.
Now, did y'all hear that? He said, since we've got Braun back, we haven't been as organized offensively. Too many random possessions. It's those three things: defensive clarity, role clarity, and offensive organization. Now, with that, Coach Redick spelled out what everybody else who's watched this Lakers team closely this season. LeBron James either doesn't know his role or refused to adjust to his new role on this team, which is being a third option behind Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Now, let me defend Coach JJ Redick for a second. Listen, he had to call out LeBron James. It was so obvious in that Rockets game that LeBron gave zero effort. Redick would have not only lost the locker room, but credibility as a head coach if he didn't call out LeBron. At this point, even Lakers players are calling out LeBron. Listen to what DeAndre Ayton had to say about LeBron James.
If you're seeing something going to LeBron James and saying, LeBron, I think you did this incorrectly.
Not everybody could go up to LeBron and think they could tell LeBron how to do certain things and, do certain ways. It's all about personnel and knowing and taking constructive criticism. That's all about togetherness. And, I think once we get a feel of how to really bring each other up, we're going to get rolling here in a second. I just feel like we, as a team, collectively talking and community, it's getting there, to be honest. It's just that we always have different groups out there every day. So.
Now, I will say this. I am glad players and coaches have finally called out LeBron. However, LeBron isn't going to take this in a positive manner. Throughout his entire career, LeBron has never taken accountability for what happens on that court. It's either he doesn't have enough help or the coaches don't know what they're doing. In his eyes, it's just never his fault. So, yes, thank you, Coach Redick. But unfortunately, this year, it's a wrap. LeBron is going to be even worse on the court now that he's been called out. The crazy thing is, they actually need him to step up because Austin Reeves is currently injured and won't be back for at least 4 weeks. But I know how LeBron moves. He's going to be passive-aggressive on and off the court. And just be prepared to see some bad basketball from the Los Angeles Lakers. I really thought LeBron was going to embrace being the third option. Nobody with the brain would expect a 41-year-old player to be the main option on a championship team. So I never understood why LeBron feels like he needs to be the number one option. Now, he's never said that, but if you just watch the games, he refused to play a role. He still feels like the offense runs through him, and unfortunately, that mentality is going to hinder the Los Angeles Lakers all season. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Bamfo, and we got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So the Los Angeles Lakers lost last night to the Detroit Pistons 128-106. Now, if you haven't been watching the NBA this season, the Detroit Pistons are the best team in the Eastern Conference, led by Cade Cunningham. So it's not that big of a deal that the Lakers lost to a good team, but I will say this, that losing by 20 at home, it just isn't a good look. Also, I would say you got to give the Lakers a little grace because they are missing two starters in Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. But what I see online from Laker fans is that it's time to panic. Now, whenever things go wrong, there's always going to be finger pointing. So you have three sets of fans that are bickering back and forth with each other. First, you have the true diehard Laker fans who will hold everybody accountable. Whether it's coaching, the front office, LeBron James, or Luka Doncic, their loyalty is with the Lakers at all times. Then you have Luka fans who never blame him for anything. Even when you question his defense, those fans, they just don't want to hear it. In their minds, how can you blame Luka when he's almost averaging a 35-point triple-double this season? And last but not least, you have LeBron James fans who follow him from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland, and now LA. And for them, LeBron James is basically their Lord and Savior. As long as LeBron plays well, nothing else even matters. And if he plays bad, well, he doesn't have enough help. So if you're paying attention, it's a clash with all of these fan bases. With that, who is at fault for the Lakers' recent struggles? Well, if you ask me, you have to place the majority of the blame on LeBron James. It was just a fact that in the beginning of the season, when LeBron was sidelined with sciatica, the Lakers were a really good basketball team. Everybody, they knew their role, and Austin Reeves turned into an all-star level type player when LeBron was absent. Listen to what Jeff Teague had to say on his Club 520 podcast.
Yeah, man.
He got to retire this year. Bro.
No, he don't, bro. I need 20.
I just don't like the fact
I need
that
25
how many
years.
points Bron average?
Probably 20.
Nah,
He had like
Lou
18.
said no.
it ain't quite 20 yet, man.
He do.
Oh, we out of pocket. It's right there, 20.3. I thought it was
What
upper.
are we talking about, gang?
27, 50.
And we shooting 50%.
That's the lowest since his rookie year.
I'm an all-star.
That's the lowest since his rookie year.
In my 23rd year in the NBA, I am
He
averaging
just
20
turned 21.
points on shooting 50% from the field.
Yeah.
I played with two people.
I am not the problem.
Your worst year is my dream year. I definitely
A
understand.
down year for Bron is nigga's dream year.
I definitely understand, but what I'm saying is I can't see Bron having rookie stats no more. Like, that's just not good for my love of the game. He too good of a player, too legendary to ever. I never wanted him to have Michael Jordan stats at the end of his career.
Wizard stats.
Yeah,
That's Wizard J.
that's Wizard Mike right
That's
there.
Wizard J for sure.
As long as Bron killing the playoffs, the only thing that'll really kill me if Bron kills the playoffs and like be mid, that hurt, bro.
I never.
I
I
don't wanna see
always
that,
wanted
bro.
him to average 25 when he left. Like his last
I'm gonna
year.
do that in the playoffs.
Like, this is Mike 20. Mike averaged 20, didn't he?
Yep.
LeBron got to start acting like Kawhi, man. Sit some.
Yes, myself and the mainstream media are talking about LeBron and retirement. Now, Jeff Teague wants LeBron to retire due to performance, and I understand that. But LeBron needs to retire more so because he doesn't have the ability to elevate the Lakers anymore. At the age of 41, you can't ask LeBron to do too much. It's just not fair anymore. The Lakers, they're no longer championship contenders this season, and hopefully it will be LeBron's last season. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we gotta talk about LeBron James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So on Wednesday, the Los Angeles Lakers lost to the San Antonio Spurs, 107-91. Luka Doncic had a 38-point triple-double, but it wasn't enough to beat the Spurs. Now, this was the second game of a back-to-back. On Tuesday, the Lakers defeated the Pelicans 111-103. And in that game, LeBron, he just had an amazing game. He finished with 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Now, reporters talked to LeBron after the game to see if he will suit up the next night versus the Spurs.
41 years old. Of course, there's always every back-to-back.
Didn't look like it.
Every back-to-back for the rest of the season is TBD. I am 41. I got the most minutes in NBA history. Bank it right now, okay? What are we talking about?
It's just that you don't look like you're 41 on the
But
court.
I am. Look at my birth certificate, December 30th, 1984, 4:39 p.m. That's when I was born.
Any suckers out there?
I ain't got, you know.
Now, I get it. LeBron is 41 years old and is doing things on the basketball court that no 41-year-old athlete should be doing. He's in year 23, and for him to have the ability to lead a team to a win on any given night, all I can do is salute to him. Now, having said that, there are a couple of things that I just have to point out. Now, why did LeBron James decide to play against the New Orleans Pelicans instead of the San Antonio Spurs? Now, the Pelicans, they're probably one of the worst teams in the NBA. Zion Williamson has been a huge disappointment for New Orleans, and I don't even want to get started about him and what's going on in his personal life. Now, the San Antonio Spurs, on the other hand, they're actually NBA title contenders. Okay, so I'm not the brightest man in the world, but would it have been smarter for LeBron not to play against the Pelicans, but instead suit up versus the Spurs? Not only was this a nationally televised game, but it was on the road, and people paid their hard-earned money to see LeBron play basketball and not for him to practice on his golf swing. Now, if you ask anybody in the Lakers organization, Coach J.J. Redick, the players, Commissioner Adam Silver, they would have rather had LeBron play versus the Spurs rather than the Pelicans. Now, I don't want to go as far as to say LeBron was stuck in smoke versus the Spurs, but I will say this. LeBron James is still trying to show that he has power, not only in the NBA, but over the Lakers organization. Now, I don't think he has any power left in the NBA and on the Lakers, but he is still doing this passive-aggressive thing in which he's basically saying, hey, I get to choose when I'm going to play, and there's nothing you can do about it. And to a certain extent, LeBron is right. The Lakers really can't do anything about it except wait the season out. Once LeBron James comes off the books, move forward with Luka Doncic as the clear number one option, re-sign Austin Reeves, and then they can finally have a clean slate without the cloud of LeBron James over the organization. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we gotta talk about Rich Paul and LeBron James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So let's start from the beginning and break down this entire Rich Paul, Austin Reeves, and now LeBron James saga. It all started earlier this week on the Rich Paul and Max Kellerman podcast called Game Over. On that episode, Rich Paul suggested that the Los Angeles Lakers should acquire Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies. In this trade scenario, he stated that the Lakers would have to give up Austin Reeves because he feels Luka Doncic and Reeves have a similar style of play, and the Lakers need a defensive presence. Many people in the media were confused by the hypothetical trade. First of all, at this moment, Austin Reeves is a much better player than Jaren Jackson. Before he got hurt, Reeves was averaging 28 points per game and was a lock to make the All-Star team. Now, don't get me wrong, Jackson is a good player, but he may have already reached his ceiling as a player, while Reeves has more room to grow. But besides that trade, more people were wondering, why is a current agent in the NBA speaking on a possible trade scenario? Not only is it extremely unprofessional, but you're putting LeBron James in an awkward position because at some point, the media will have to ask him questions. Well, that moment came a couple of days ago after the Lakers versus Hawks game. ESPN reporter Dave McMenamin wrote an article, and LeBron James finally addressed Rich Paul and Austin Reeves. I think you all know by now, Rich is his own man, and what Rich says is not a direct reflection of me and how I feel. And I hope people know that. I hope people know that, and if they're not sensible to know that, then I don't know what to tell them. LeBron James stated. Now, Rich Paul responded to the audience and broke down the dynamic between his podcast and how it affects LeBron James.
Yeah.
How does that work?
He understands this is not like a podcast playground. We're in the content business. And after you get done saying all these different terms, just end it with business. I'm a businessman first. This is a business. So this is my business, just like he has his business. I think it's a respectful behavior that we have towards one another. I think you see agent-client behavior. And I think the other thing that sits up under that is he knows that I wouldn't sit here I don't do anything with malice or with spite. And if there was something I wanted to say, I go right to the source.
But that's actually a special guy, LeBron. Like I understand, and I've said this on the pod, why LeBron would be perplexed about coverage of him. Because 99, he's a 1 in a billion basketball player. And then he's expected to be a 1 in a million person too, which he really is. Like to be in this environment and almost never, I've criticized LeBron. I criticized LeBron about his criticism of Daryl Morey and the whole China thing. I was strong criticism of LeBron at the time. But that's here and there. Like people can do things that deserve criticism. If you're LeBron James and you go, 99% of my game and 99% of me as a person is positive, why does the coverage feel like it's 50-50? It's out of whack, right?
Because of things like he just did.
But so what I'm saying
that's not the norm.
That is what he said. The way he supported you is not normal.
It's not normal.
That's extra. Yeah. And the interesting thing to me that you just said is this is my business. That's his business. I thought of the.
So I understand the explanation LeBron and Rich Paul gave. They have their own thoughts, ideas, and don't want to be connected. But honestly, I just don't believe it. LeBron James has always been calculated, so he knew exactly how to spin the situation and make it seem like he's not involved. But in my opinion, he is, and he's using Rich Paul as his mouthpiece. Now, you might think that's unfair to connect Rich Paul and LeBron James in that manner, but LeBron hasn't earned that benefit of the doubt. This season, as the third option, you can see how frustrated he's been. How can you explain laughing with your opponent down 20 and the coach has to use a timeout to get you back engaged? You just can't explain it. And when passive-aggressive LeBron James enters the building, he doesn't leave until he gets his way. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about LeBron James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So today, the NBA announced the starters for the 2026 All-Star Game. In the Western Conference, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Victor Wembanyama were named starters. So, for the first time in 21 years, LeBron James will not be starting in the All-Star Game. First of all, I want to start with love and acknowledge how amazing of a streak that was. To be starting in the NBA All-Star Game for 21 straight years just shows how great LeBron James is as a player. When it comes to the longevity and playing at a high level in the NBA, there is no question LeBron is the best to ever do it. Now, what really hurt LeBron not being named starter for the All-Star Game is the fact that he missed the beginning of the season due to sciatica. With his absence, Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves were able to flourish and lead the Lakers to a 10-4 record. Also, if you look at LeBron's numbers this season, it just doesn't scream NBA All-Star starter. This season, LeBron is averaging 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. Now, don't get me wrong, those are great numbers, especially for someone that's 41 years old. However, exactly who could LeBron start over in the Western Conference? He can't start over SGA, not Steph, and definitely not Luka. So it didn't surprise me when the announcement was made today. Now, if you remember in 2003, Michael Jordan was not voted in as an NBA starter, but Vince Carter gave up his starting spot so that Jordan can start in his last All-Star Game. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened this year for LeBron James because, believe it or not, I think this could be his final year in the NBA. Now, there is a bigger message being sent by the NBA community. Now, remember, the NBA starters are voted on by the fans. So it's obvious to see what the fans are saying with the Western Conference starters. They're ready to move on from LeBron James. He gave us 23 great years and has so many records in the NBA that it's impossible to not have him as the top 10 player of all time. But at some point, the LeBron James era of the NBA has to come to an end. There are so many young stars in the league like Luka Doncic, SGA, Anthony Edwards, and Victor Wembanyama that the NBA will still be in great shape once LeBron James leaves. Yes, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be weird in the NBA initially once LeBron retires. But all good things must come to an end. And with LeBron being left off the Western Conference starters, it's the ultimate sign that the fans are ready to move on. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.
Back to when LeBron joined the Lakers in 2018, and the whole framing of the narrative of LeBron, savior for a floundering franchise versus the front office receiving a lot of credit for him getting there, feeling it clutch, the control that they feel they at times exerted over the organization, his ego. Then you fast forward to the 2021 Russell Westbrook trade, which was a disaster for the Lakers, and the front office and Genie feeling that LeBron was He didn't hold himself accountable enough for the way that played out. At times, I was told from sources that Jeannie talked about wanting to not sign LeBron to future contracts.
Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So, a bombshell report came out yesterday from ESPN's Baxter Holmes that go into great detail on the Los Angeles Lakers and gives us a behind-the-scenes look at what's been going on these past couple of years. Now, the article goes into great detail on the Buss family business and what led to the sale of the Los Angeles Lakers for $10 billion. But for this video, I want to focus on the relationship between the Lakers and LeBron James, because if you read in between the lines of the article, you can conclude that the relationship is forever broken. Now, let's start from the beginning when LeBron decided to join the Lakers as a free agent. In the public's eyes, LeBron was billed as the savior for the Lakers because prior to him, the Lakers were absolutely trash. Now, according to the article, Jeannie Buss wasn't so happy that this was the narrative. LeBron was the savior to the Los Angeles Lakers. Honestly, that's just silly and shows how big of an ego Jeannie Buss has. The Lakers were a young team, yes, but they were also struggling to win basketball games. When you have the best player in the world at the time coming to your franchise, you have to put your ego to the side and at least see what happens. LeBron was able to bring them a bubble championship, and I get many people dismiss the ring, but at the end of the day, it counts as a championship. Now, after the bubble championship, the Lakers acquired Russell Westbrook, and anybody with a brain could see that bringing in Westbrook to the Lakers just wasn't going to work out. Everybody that is except LeBron James, because he basically forced the Lakers to acquire Russell Westbrook. Now, when that didn't quite work out, Jeannie Buss felt LeBron didn't take accountability and blamed others for getting Westbrook. The one thing I will say is, how can you place blame on LeBron James when, as a front office, you basically did whatever he said? From the beginning, they should have taken control of the situation and not have given LeBron James and Clutch Sports so much influence on the franchise. I can't place blame on LeBron because the front office should have had a better game plan as soon as they acquired LeBron James. And lastly, we got to discuss Bronny James' role in all of this. It is a known fact that the only reason Bronny James was drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers was because LeBron James made them. And with that, once again, Jeannie Buss felt that LeBron didn't appreciate the Lakers organization for making that happen. Now, with all of this drama surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James, where does that lead us today? Honestly, it just means that this is LeBron James' final season playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. All signs point to the Lakers moving forward with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves as the building blocks for the Lakers franchise. The writing was on the wall prior to the start of the season once LeBron James didn't get that contract extension. Ideally, I would want for this to be LeBron's final season in the NBA, but who knows what he ends up deciding at the end of the season. The only thing I can say is that the relationship between the Lakers and LeBron is forever tarnished. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we gotta talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So, after months of rumors and speculation, we can finally confirm that the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo are working on a trade. After 12 years, a championship, 2 MVPs, it's possible that Giannis might be on a new team prior to the February 5th trade deadline. Now, exactly how did we get here? So, if you look at this season, the Milwaukee Bucks are 12th in the weak Eastern Conference with an 18-27 record. It's a strong possibility that the Bucks won't even make the playoffs, And if they actually do make the playoffs, we already know they won't be competing for an NBA championship. Also, have you actually looked at the current Bucks roster? Besides Giannis, there isn't another all-star type player on the team. Now, I really do like Ryan Rollins, the shooting guard that's averaging 16, 5, and 4. But currently, he isn't anything special, and Giannis doesn't have time to wait. He's currently injured with his second major calf strain of the season, and at 31 years old, remaining on this underwhelming Bucks team that's 3-12 without him doesn't make much sense. So it looks like we have a rebuild on our hands, and with that, the Bucks would be looking to get back young, athletic players with huge upsides and some draft picks. Now, there are 3 teams who have emerged as the front runners to acquire Giannis. You have the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, and the Golden State Warriors. With the Heat, they have young players in Jamie Jaquez Jr. and Khalil Ware. For the Knicks, obviously it starts with Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. I just don't see that working because they have no draft picks, and that team wouldn't be that good initially with only Giannis and Jalen Brunson leading the way. And lastly, you can never count out the Golden State Warriors. They have to make a big move soon to please Steph Curry, and acquiring Giannis would be a huge boost for the team in the Bay Area. Also, one last team that I do like is the Atlanta Hawks, more so because they have the young players and the draft picks. I doubt that Giannis would approve that trade because we got to remember, next year, Giannis will be a free agent. So whatever team he does get traded to have to be very careful and make sure that they will be able to re-sign Giannis. Now, in regards to LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers let it be known that they would be open to having LeBron James return back to Cleveland for his 24th season in the NBA. In an article on ESPN written by Dave McMenamin, it was outlined that a reunion could be taking place, but in my opinion, a lot of things need to line up for that to happen.
I don't think there's any real chance of that, Kenny. I think LeBron James is, in his mind, he's finishing that season, this season in LA. He's got a no trade clause. There just has not been any pathway to any type of deal. There were conversations to be had in the offseason. There's no doubt about that. And I do think it is up in the air. If LeBron James, as you and Shaq thought, if he does indeed play one more year, and there's people in LeBron's circle that do believe he's going to go one more year, if he does actually play one more season, there is definitely chatter. Where could that be? Could that be in Cleveland? Where could that be? Could that be back in LA? And so that's up for debate for sure. But right now, I think LeBron's mindset is locked in on this Lakers team. What move can the Lakers make at the deadline as well? They're going to be active to an extent. They have 1 first-round pick they can trade. Rob Pelinka, their president of basketball, he's going to try to make another move on the edges to try to make that team better.
First of all, LeBron could very well retire at the end of the season. That would make the most sense in my eyes because at this point, what more is LeBron playing for? He's accomplished everything a player can only dream of doing. He was able to play with his son, Bronny James, and will always be regarded as a top 10 player of all time. There's his old saying, don't wear out your welcome. And I think if he comes back next season, he will be doing just that. Also, speaking on Bronny, does he follow his father to Cleveland? We all know Bronny is only on the Lakers because of LeBron. So if he leaves Los Angeles as a free agent, what happens to Bronny? I doubt that LeBron will leave him in LA, and that's just going to be a weird dynamic, having to request the release of Bronny from the Lakers. And finally, how much does LeBron James sign for when he goes to Cleveland? They have the highest cap in the NBA. So if you add LeBron James next season, is he signing for the veteran minimum? I highly doubt that, but with LeBron James, you just never know what he has planned. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about LeBron James and Jaylen Brown. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So, last night, the Los Angeles Lakers got blown out by the Boston Celtics, 111-89. The Celtics were led by Jaylen Brown, who had 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists, while Peyton Pritchard came off the bench and he dropped 30. Now, let me first acknowledge how bad of a loss that was for the Los Angeles Lakers. At this moment, the Lakers are at full strength, and Austin Reeves is back in the starting lineup. The trade deadline is over with, so this is the roster that we will see come playoff time. Now, at the beginning of the season, I thought the Lakers were a championship contender. I understand all of the pieces weren't perfect, but I did have high expectations. That thought is fully out of the window, and they will be lucky to make it out of the first round of the playoffs. They seem to always lose versus playoff caliber teams. Now, versus the Mavericks, Kings, and Grizzlies, they really do look amazing. But at this point, I can't fall for it anymore. This team is not a championship contender. Now, speaking on Jaylen Brown and LeBron James, not only was it interesting to see their interactions in this game, but both players had fascinating things to say after the game to reporters.
What have you made of his season, and what's your relationship been like with him over the years?
What's the season been like? I think he just used the motivation of a lot of people just saying that they're going to have a down year because of, obviously JT being out, them losing Drew, Al, leaves, Porzingis leaves, their whole championship team pretty much is kind of revamped, and he used that as motivation to keep them afloat. They're playing great basketball, and it's because of him and the rest of those guys. He's taking that next step. Our relationship has been, pretty respectful. Besides the shit he said about Bronny at Summer League, but other than that, we've been all right.
We guys able to get past that?
We'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be all right. I think he went on social media and said something about it. It's all good, but Ronnie got a long way to go, but that's another story. So, but the kid, listen, JB is doing shit. He's playing great basketball, man, and you can't fault this. This whole MVP thing, I don't understand why his name is not getting talked about some as well. Like, nobody gave him a shot to start the season. And he's adding, 30?
Yeah. Just under.
Yeah, just under 30?
Third best record.
Yeah, it's a popularity contest sometimes.
Do you feel like he could be MVP?
Last question.
That's not for me. I'm going to be honest, I don't know the criteria of MVP anymore. I kind of stopped giving a damn about it a long time ago. I got my own personal issues about it, so... Yeah, these guys will tell you why. Yeah, all right, appreciate it.
Just come out and play basketball. At the end of the day, it's a long season. We still got 28, 27 games left, however many games. So, just come with the same mentality as I have from day one. Don't let the praise or the warmth or the criticism make or break you. Just come out and be Jaylen Brown, who I am. I feel like I'm the best two-way player in the world. I play both ends of the court, night to night. I'm available, which is hard to do. I'm a leader. I help lead my team, empower my team to come out and play confidently, stuff that doesn't always show up on the analytics. And I'm a winner. I come out and try to win every single night. So I'm grateful. It's an honor to play the Celtics-Lakers rivalry. It's an honor for LeBron, who's arguably the best player to ever play the game, giving me some high praise. I'm just grateful. I wake up every morning grateful, humbled, in the position I'm able to be in, and I come out and put my best foot forward.
Now, I gotta be honest, I didn't even think about Jaylen Brown potentially being an MVP this year until LeBron said something. But if you look at the stats, yes, Jaylen needs to be in the conversation. Not only are the Celtics second in the Eastern Conference without Jason Tatum, but Jaylen Brown is averaging 29, 4, and 7 on a team who many people wrote off. So salute to LeBron for pointing that out. But I have to address the whole Bronny James aspect of this story. So if you don't remember, Jaylen Brown was caught on camera saying, "I don't think Bronny is a pro," during an NBA Summer League game. Now, this thing went absolutely viral, to the point that Jaylen had to go on Twitter to add more context. But at that point, the damage was already done, and we can all assume LeBron was angry at Jaylen Brown. Now, let me defend Jaylen in this regard. When he said that it wasn't in an interview and it wasn't meant to be for the public. He was speaking to his girlfriend and the cameras just caught the moment. And I will say this as well. If you ask any current or former NBA player, do they think Bronny is a pro? I believe the majority would say no. Also, Bronny is in his second year in the league, and so far, he hasn't looked like a pro. Jaylen Brown was absolutely right about Bronny. He isn't a pro. He hasn't had any impact as a Los Angeles Laker, and the only time he gets playing time is during blowouts, where there is zero pressure for him to perform. At the end of the day, there isn't any real beef between Jaylen Brown and LeBron James. Both are great players who are in different directions in their career. The Lakers-Celtics matchup is always must-see TV. But for this year, one team is a championship contender, while the other is not. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.
No Luka Doncic, no Austin Reeves. If a 41-year-old LeBron James in the head-to-head matchup with Kevin Durant comes out and pulls off this victory and comes out victorious in this series, I don't want to hear a damn thing anymore about the GOAT conversation. The GOAT conversation will be officially over. I don't want to hear from Stephen A. I don't want to hear from my brother Mike Wilborn. I don't want to hear none of that. If a 41-year-old LeBron James comes out and lead this Laker team to a first-round victory, being a heavy underdog, I don't want to hear anything about the GOAT conversation. When you look at
Big Perk, Kendrick Perkins, this morning said that if LeBron beats the Houston Rockets in the first series, GOAT conversation is over. I didn't know that. That might be that might be a lot, but do you think LeBron?
The GOAT conversation has been over. It's Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Thank you. I agree with you, Q Rich. But do you think LeBron can beat the Rockets in the first round?
Guy's still playing. What do you mean it's over? What if he wins 6 straight titles?
Still writing stories.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, that's not going to happen. So,
all right.
Holler at me when he wins 6 straight. Then we can talk.
Jeez. What do you think?
Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about LeBron James and Kevin Durant. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So the NBA playoffs start this weekend, and there are many compelling matchups that I'm looking forward to. You have the Oklahoma City Thunder, who finished first in the Western Conference and will be looking to repeat as NBA champions. Then you have the Detroit Pistons, who nobody saw coming this season as legit title contenders. They finished first in the Eastern Conference and may have the coach of the year in JB Bickerstaff. Then you got Victor Wembanyama, the future of the NBA and face of the league, embarking on his first ever playoff series. Now, I'm very excited for all of those teams, but the most interesting series in these playoffs will be the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Houston Rockets. You got KD versus LeBron James. Now, the NBA community has waited 8 long years to see this matchup again in the postseason. So it's been interesting to see how the media have been talking about this series. We're being told that if Kevin Durant somehow loses this series, it will be a huge stain on his career. And with LeBron James, if he somehow wins this series, it will increase his legacy because he beat KD without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Now, if he loses, who cares? Because he was supposed to lose. Now, if you ask me, I think both of those narratives are silly, and in this video, I'm going to break down why this series means absolutely nothing. We talk about legacies for Kevin Durant and LeBron James. First of all, KD and LeBron, they just old as hell. LeBron is 41 and KD is 37. They are at the end of their careers, and at this point, they both have nothing to prove. Now, if you want to say KD still got to win a championship without the Golden State Warriors, I do get that argument. Winning a ring outside of that dynasty would help KD's legacy, I agree. But losing to LeBron in this series would not diminish his career. Whether you like it or not, KD has 2 rings and 2 finals MVPs. You just can't take that away from him. And yes, he's still playing at an all-star level at 37 years old. But he's not the same player he was when he was in his prime. It's just good to still see him play at a high level, but his age at this point is a major factor. So win or lose, this can't hurt his legacy. And for LeBron James, at 41 years old, I have 0 expectations for him to carry the Lakers in the playoffs. Without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, this team, to be honest, is just not good. I think LeBron is good enough to win a game or 2, but to beat the Rockets, that's not happening. Next, we got to talk about the most obvious point in this entire discussion. It's the first round of the playoffs. Historically, when you talk about LeBron versus KD, we're talking about the NBA Finals. In 2012, 2017, and 2018, that Larry O'Brien trophy was at stake. And in those moments, legacies were on the line. KD was able to enhance his by winning back-to-back, and with LeBron, people once again questioned his greatness. But today, we're talking about the 4-5 matchup in the first round. Nothing that happens in the series will affect anything. Your legacy usually isn't built from first round playoff series. It's part of the story, yes, but it's never the main course. So if LeBron James wins this series, he still has 4 rings. If KD wins this series, he still has 2 rings. I'm saying that to say this series means nothing, and the media has to understand that. Now, you can never say never, but I'm not expecting the Lakers or Rockets to win the NBA title this year. Both teams are average, and there are just too many other good teams that have a way better chance of winning the NBA title. So when you get ready to watch game 1 of this series, don't let the NBA media convince you that the loser is washed up or the winner surpassed the other. LeBron and KD's legacy, they're already written. Both are all-time greats who will be first ballot Hall of Famers. This matchup is more so a battle of longevity, how they are still playing at a high level at such an old age. So let's all just enjoy the series. Let's enjoy KD and LeBron, and let's leave the legacy talk alone for this series. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.